Hey, what's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another post-match fan show. 3 points to talk about finally as Spurs beat Aston Villa 2-0 at Villa Park. Is that another performance at Villa Park saving another manager?
Yeah, potentially. It looks like it. It looks like it could be. I don't want to get too excited because, although we won 2-0 and it was a good performance and I think we deserved it, it was a Villa side without Jack Grealish, and we've seen that against Burnley and against Palace of late. We've put in good performances, but when the going gets tough, we usually get going. So I want to see us really put in these performances against Everton and against Man United and against the better teams. And obviously Villa are in the top half, and it's our first time we've beaten a team in the top half since I think Southampton earlier in the season. And it is a step in the right direction, but it's difficult to know how much you can learn from it because of how depleted Villa have been, and they have been in bad form. But it was a good win. It was a clean sheet as well, with Rodon and Sanchez and Tanganga all in the back four. To keep a clean sheet was definitely impressive. Watkins didn't really have much joy out in the forward line, and I thought with Lucas, Vinicius, Kane up front, we provided a different kind of threat to Aston Villa, and they struggled to deal with that, and we could have had a few more goals, but at the end of the day we did score through a mistake from Martinez and a penalty, which debatable whether it was a penalty or not. I think it was, but you could debate either way. So I think it was a good win, but it's all about building on it. It's all about building momentum and going, and this being the kind of what we aimed for in every game. We can't just do it, as Mourinho said in his post-match interview, we can't do this as a reaction to every bad defeat. This has to be a baseline of what we expect. So let's see if next game kind of thing.
Yeah, but there were some really good performances out there for players that haven't had many minutes this season. Joe Rodon, Japhet Tanganga, and I think both of them were brilliant. Carlos Vinicius getting on the score sheet today. I thought Tanguy and Ndombele grew in influence as the game went on, but today belongs to Lucas Moura because I thought he was absolutely sensational throughout the 90 today, Lucas Moura. But look, Grandpa is there waiting in the wings. Let's get him on. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see what his point system is saying today.
Well, hi you guys.
How you doing, Grandpa?
Yeah, great. Feeling much better.
Good.
More feeling better for you than for me. It was an interesting game, and thank goodness it's the last game when we don't have a week to prepare for the next game.
That's true.
And I think that's been the biggest. It's been the biggest issue. They've been very, very tired. And you know what? When they get tired, they get colourblind and they can't see a white shirt anymore. And I think our passing today, we were finding white shirts all the time coming up from the back, and we were pushing forward all the time. Passing was good, and the opportunities were great. I mean, I think Holby, managed that centre brilliantly. He was controlling it. He was pushing it around and keeping everybody together. I thought Ndombele also was up to his tricks and succeeded. I mean, he was playing the same games, but this time he was succeeding. He was beating his players and he was getting through. Absolutely outstanding. Regulon also, I thought, was pushing forward quite often. And of course, we didn't have who has been our greatest forward player in the last few games in Lamela playing. So that was great. I thought that I know most of you are giving most of the pundits are giving more of the man of the match. I won't. I'm going to give Kane the man of the match.
Kane?
Yeah.
Why is that, Grandpa?
Because he's played every single game. He was partly injured with his knee, yet he's played and he's played and he's played. And he was so fit this time. He really, really was great. And I think for his fitness, in what has been a very, very difficult for the players, is just so outstanding. And I think that everybody builds on that. So, yeah, Moura was great. I mean, he was great. I do agree. But Kane was absolutely wonderful in terms of his continued play, continual running into defence and everything else. So it was good. It was a good match. And I'm hopeful that now we've got time to prepare and play properly. All our team are going to be fit unless they get hurt in their international games, of course.
Yeah.
Son is not going now, is he? Hopefully he'll be okay by the time they play the next game. I'm very hopeful. I'm really, really hopeful that we can get into the top 4 and win the final.
What did you make out of Japhet Tanganga today at right back, and how do you kind of compare him to Matt Doherty and Serge Aurier?
I think today he played brilliantly.
Yeah.
I mean, I quite like Doherty, and I think he's got potential. But yeah, he had a good game. There was nobody that didn't have a good game. I mean, Sanchez was a bit mixed, but generally he didn't have a bad game. So I don't think anybody really had a bad game. Yes, I like Tanganga, and I don't know, what I really do like is Mourinho's attitude at the moment. He's not like he's not like the guy that he was. Maybe that's a bad thing because he's not demanding and not so really nasty. And I always thought that one of the things he was doing was playing to get sacked because that's how he's made his money in the past, by getting sacked. I think he's got a good attitude. I think he's really caring now, much better. And I think that will stand us in good stead going forward as well.
Yeah, he made a lot of changes today, didn't he? He put in Vinicius, he put Broden and Sanchez together at the back, he put Tanganga right back, he brought in Lo Celso as well. What do you think he was saying with those changes? Leaving Bale out, leaving a lot of high-profile players on the bench, or not even in the squad, leaving two right backs who we have, Aurier and Doherty, both out of the squad entirely. Do you think he was trying to make a statement, and was he justified in the performance?
I think he was saying, I'm only going to play people that have got the passion and the right attitude. And I think that's what he was really saying. And he proved the point. That's not that I think Bale does have the right attitude. But I mean, he wanted to play the people that were fit, that really had that passion to fight and fight and fight. And that's what he did. So great credit to him, I think. And it's good to get some of these players that haven't had some games playing and doing well, because that's what we've needed. We've been playing the same players all the time, generally speaking, and we need that 2 or 3 team when we're playing so many games. It's not going to be quite so important now if we stay fit.
All right, Grandpa, and finally, you hopeful for the top 4 now?
I am. I would take a bet on.
All
take a bet.
Betting man, Grandpa.
I'll take a bet on. I would take a bet.
All right, let's go 3 ways on that.
All right, Grandpa. Absolute pleasure as always. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you next time.
Speak to you in a bit, Grandpa.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Nice one.
Up the Spurs. All right, you're saying a lot of high-profile players missed out. We can't call Winks high-profile this time.
Oh, he's very high-profile. He's international, played against Madrid, won. He's very high-profile.
All right, who we got on next on, Joe? Let's get for Jack Burford. Jack, how you doing, my friend?
Oh,
I think you're on mute, Jack.
I think you're on mute, Jack. Is that our end? It's not our end. No? Doesn't seem to be working. I hear something changing.
Jack, there should be a mute button on your screen somewhere, or a volume button or something like that.
No, I can't hear him.
Let's go to Big Dave, and then we'll go back. We'll go back to Jack. See if he can sort it out.
We'll try and get you back on.
Big Dave.
Gentlemen.
Yes, Big Dave. How you doing, mate?
Very well after that. Very well.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've come on the fan cams a couple of times with John in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, after not very good results. Finally, we'll get you on after a win. Assess that performance for me.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say at least we know I'm not a jinx. I thought it's been a worry. It's been a worry. But that was hard, rugged, and satisfactory performance, I think, because the first half an hour, it could have gone a lot differently.
Yeah.
But the first 5 minutes, we started really well. And then all of a sudden, the back four didn't have a clue what they were doing, it seemed. And if we'd conceded then, who knows what it would have been. Thank God we didn't. Got the goal. Confidence grew throughout the game. And you've got to walk away from that saying that's a good away performance.
Do you think that if Jack Grealish was playing for Aston Villa today, it could have been a different story?
100%. 100%. I really do. Like, he's such a class player. We all know that. And you take that out of a team like Villa, who haven't got... they don't come close to the squad that we've got. So to take a player like that away from him is a big blow. And I was so grateful he wasn't there for the first half an hour. But I thought we were still, not being funny, we stood it out. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the bit of fight, a bit of grit. And we've got to be happy with that performance. There was still some massive, massive red herrings in that performance tonight. Even when we were turning it up, the way like Sanchez got turned, I think it was in the 83rd minute. If we concede from that, it's another bad game for Sanchez.
Yeah.
But it's a clean sheet out of it. No one sees that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
we didn't have we didn't have the options in the squad tonight. It was Dyer or Sanchez to play alongside Rodon for me, and I would pick Sanchez over Dyer at the moment.
Yeah, in the back line, we had Tanganga, Sanchez and Rodon all in the back line today. Do you think maybe that extra enthusiasm and the fact that they're younger, they have that extra of energy in them, do you think that helped in terms of, throwing your body in front of things and stuff like that? And even though we didn't have the experience, we still held strong.
Well, I think if anyone says that didn't help, then you should have seen the two blocks that Tanganga and Sanchez both it hit Tanganga. But when Barkley hit that shot from the edge of the area, that was late on and all in the 80th minute. The way Tanganga and Sanchez was behind him anyway. So the way they threw their bodies on line there, that's what you want to see. And we've not seen that in the the week at least. It's been pathetic, as we all know. But it was nice for them to come out and show a bit of fight and spirit today. And it weren't a top performance in any way whatsoever, but it's a step in the right direction, isn't it?
Can you take anything from that performance in terms of finishing in the top four this year? Are you any more hopeful that we can get in that top four?
I'm going to have to say no. I'm not any more hopeful than what I was 2 weeks ago, shall we say.
Right.
But you can't take a negative from that performance. If you can turn a performance like that into a win in a tough place, then of course you've got to stay a bit positive. But again, it's a team we should be beating.
Mm-hmm.
If we beat, our fixtures are pretty friendly to us, we've got to admit. So if we can get on a roll, then it is there. But I can't risk myself saying that. Yeah,
especially not live on YouTube.
But yeah, no. Let's get in front of West Ham first, all right?
Exactly.
Damn right.
And then we'll see where we're at.
Who else? How it feels after losing a 3-goal lead today, don't they?
Who else stood out for you, Big Dave, today?
Ndombele, proper mature performance for me. I thought he was superb. After the first shaky 20 minutes, really grew into the game, and he was superb in my eyes. Lucas Moura, outstanding yet again. Yeah. Like, literally, the last 6 weeks, he's been phenomenal. We have been poor on many occasions, and he's just looking better and better every week. He really is. I'm so proud of him, because obviously we've all got the night in Dam that we remember him for, and we'll never forget. But other than that, he hasn't done a lot for us really to warrant starting in a match. But the last 6 weeks, for me, he's been our top performer, barring obviously Harry Kane, who again was world class today. He's just different level. I'm running out of words to say about the boy.
Yeah, literally.
He's ridiculous. Like that goal, the first goal, Moura obviously has to take a lot of credit, and he done amazing in it. But that does not happen unless you've got someone of Kane's ability. The way he stopped the ball, held it up, passed it to Moura, it's just absolutely phenomenal. What a player.
Brilliant player, absolutely elite player. And has he saved another manager's job at Villa Park again?
Potentially.
What's your feelings on the manager?
To be fair, I'll judge him at the end of the season. Because I was very, very annoyed last week, obviously, after Europa. I was fuming. For the first time, I've said, if he went, so be it. But I would, if he gets top four and gets the League Cup, how can anyone say he shouldn't be in the job? Because that is what we wanted. We wanted a trophy in top four.
If he gets top four and doesn't win the trophy?
If he can keep that squad together and they're willing to play for him, then leave him.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Big Dave, absolute pleasure having you on. Please do call in again. Thanks for coming on, man.
Speak to you in a bit, Big Dave.
Take care.
See you in a bit.
Spurs.
Come you Spurs.
We've got a couple of super chats here.
See you later, mate.
Wayne Winter says, great to see you boys smiling again. It's good to
Big smiles on our face. Smiles for the 3 points.
And Mick Hanscom says, love the content, guys. The remit at the start of the season was to get top 4 and a trophy. Both are still on. Come on, you Spurs, which is true.
It's true.
The only thing is, I think the main thing why people are so unhappy, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. But if it does happen, then you can't begrudge him for that.
That Dynamo Zagreb, that second leg of that Dynamo Zagreb just put such a blot on this season.
Well, it's funny you say that, because which is true, but we've got some quotes here from Mourinho. He said, where did he say? He first of all said on the result on Thursday, he said that result, where was it? Sorry, one sec. He said that result left a scar, basically, and that scar won't go away for a while, he said on that Zagreb game.
Yeah, 100%, because that was such a real chance of getting European trophy, man.
It was, and the way we just chucked it away as well. And then he also says, this victory for a group that felt ashamed by what happened this week, this is a reaction of men. Was it a reaction of men?
I think it was a reaction. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. That's for sure. You have to say that. And yeah, I think they all put effort and desire on that pitch, and that's all we can ask for at the moment.
Yeah. I wonder how long that game will leave a scar for. I guess until we get top 4 or something, I guess.
If we get top 4, if we win a trophy, something like that.
Yeah,
but
until
I think
then,
top 4
until
really.
then, that game's always going to be there.
All right, let's see if Jack's audio is working. Yeah, Jack?
That's
yes,
better.
mate. Yes,
Good.
come on.
Come on, Jack.
How you doing, Jack?
A lot better now. It's working, especially after that result. A lot
Yeah.
happier.
But what did you make when you saw the lineup? What was your first reaction when you saw how many changes Mourinho had made?
Well, I knew it to put out a statement. I knew it to say what we needed to change, didn't we, after Thursday, and people thinking they're better than they are and not putting in the performances. So to have the likes of Vinicius just gave us a different outlook today. I thought the job done.
Well, do you think Mourinho's right when he says this was a reaction of men? He said it was a reaction of men who felt ashamed of the week that they had, and this was the reaction of men, not boys.
Definitely, I would say, like, in my opinion, before the game today, I would find out if the players are still working for Mourinho and still believing in philosophy. And I think we got the job done, and I would definitely say that the players, like, we've still got stuff to play for. We've still got a cup final. We're 3 points off Chelsea. We're obviously only 1 point behind West Ham now. And there's a lot to play for. We need to crack on. Forget about the week, even though it's probably been one of the worst weeks for myself as a young Tottenham fan. We need to forget that and get the bud, and hopefully come out flying and get top 4.
Who was your man of the match then today? Who really impressed you?
Can't hear Jack.
Yeah, and he's played a real crucial role in the past few weeks, hasn't he? Even against Arsenal, he was the one who really was making the difference. But in terms of going forward, would you like us to stick with the likes of Rodin and Sanchez and Tanganga at the back, or do you still think we need the likes of Toby and Dye to come into that back four?
His audio is not coming through on the live stream. His audio is not coming through on the live stream.
What happened? Is he gone? All right, sorry, Jack. Apparently we were having audio issues and people couldn't hear you. Apparently, sorry, we had to cut you off there. I'm not sure what the problem was. Was it on his end, you're saying?
His end, yeah. Well, I mean,
But I can hear him.
I know. I don't know why YouTube couldn't hear him.
YouTube can hear him. Sorry about that, Jack. I'm really sorry.
Let's get Brandon on. Yes, Brandon. How's it going, mate?
Doing well. Jack, I'm sorry they keep you going in and out, Jack.
I don't understand what happened. I could hear him, but apparently the rest of the internet couldn't, and that's what counts. But Brandon, what was that? Was that a reaction of men tonight?
I think that is certainly how you have to characterize it. And if you're Jose Mourinho and you're looking for something to hold on to from your team, that is what how you have to see it. And I also think, look, if you watched him throughout the match, clearly he didn't think that we played amazingly because we didn't. But what you're looking for is effort. You're looking for a reaction, and I think as we have seen throughout most of the season, Jose has tried to say things that ultimately lead to encouragement for his players because he is working to protect their mentality.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in terms of his selections, I'm just reading a quote here. He says he was asked about his selection. He says, "My thinking was we need angry people, we need fresh, we need positive feelings. I need people on the pitch that I know the match is really important for them." He says Tanganga and Roden are these kind of players. Do you think in this kind of game, even though maybe we didn't have an experienced backline, we had that backline who was going to throw their body on the line for the team, and that's what got us over the line?
Look, yeah, I think this was a great win. I think it was a strong win. And at this point, I don't care about form. I only care about heart. And I think that, we've seen enough permutations of the team, and he's certainly seen enough to decide that at this point, you just need to choose people who you think will fight. I thought Tanganga, as usual, was very composed and was great. Rodon was very stable, no mistakes in him this time. Sanchez needs to be sold, but I would start everybody that played today again in the next match, except I would swap Sanchez for Toby. I thought that Lucas was the man of the match again. He was constant, relentless. It's one of the things that it baffles me that anybody can't see how to get into the team, that anybody can't see how you need to show up to each match. Like you have a very clear example in front of you of what the manager responds to and what is effective in the match and what supports your teammates. And so I think that Kane was obviously wonderful again. I disagree with Grandpa. Lucas was the man of the match, but Kane is the talisman. Kane is the talisman. Obviously Kane was on the pitch for Arsenal and for Zagreb. Those were woeful performances from a team energy, show up, fight for a match. But at the same time, you can't hang that on Kane. He looked tired. He looked tired in this match too. But he goes and he goes and he goes. He won the penalty. He put it down. I think we have to take we have to take positivity from it and see where we can go from here.
In terms of Japhet Tanganga today at right back, do you think that he's done enough today in that game to say, look, I'm here now, I'm going to be starting right back from here on till the end of the season?
I think you have to until he does something to lose it, because Doherty and Aria haven't done enough to keep it.
Yeah, I agree. And Mourinho in his post-match press conference is saying that he said that match on Thursday will leave a scar for a very long time. How long do you reckon that match will leave a scar for?
I think very long in general. I mean, it's not just because of the loss of the opportunity for a cup. It's that you could show up and collapse that way. It's that you could show after Arsenal, after not showing up at Arsenal, and collapse that way. Like it's what it showed him about the mentality of the team. I think that's what leaves the scar. It's why we won today, but you have no idea whether we can carry that energy forward, carry that momentum forward. So I think it will leave a scar. If we win the Carabao Cup, that will certainly remedy things. If we get top four, that will certainly remedy things. I think it's been a really challenging week, but I think the most calamitous thing about the last week is our fan base is willing to turn on Jose depending on which direction the wind blows. I just don't, and it creates a toxic atmosphere. I think we still have an opportunity for a cup. Top four is only 3 points off, and I think that you really have to look at things and also think and also make our players take some responsibility for how you are going to show up. And if we look back and you say, You didn't think Poch was the problem, right? That players needed to be recycled, but you got rid of Poch, and now you don't think that we're winning as consistently as we should be. How is the problem now going to be primarily Jose Mourinho? I think we have to look at our players and be like, some of these cats are just not, like Lloris said, for some reason, you're not just about the squad. You might be feeling emotionally about what matches you're up for or you're not up for, and it's interfering with the cohesive nature of what's possible. That's what I see.
Do you see this massive clear out of players that we need in the summer? Do you feel like the current market will even allow that?
I don't know about that, because of the market, because of the state of the club financially. I think it'll largely be about having to let certain players go to get money in. But I think, considering that circumstance, the thing that will be the best for the club going into next season, and obviously we'll see how this season plays out, but I think you have to make the message very clear that.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to make there's something in the back end. There's audio coming.
Oh, right.
Sorry about that.
I think you have to make the message very clear that the club is going to rock with the manager, and that if players are not willing to go with the club and the manager, that players have to go. And I never understand this fight with fans to whether they're going to be loyal to the manager or loyal to the players. And the players are always representing the Players FC, the brand of the players. Ultimately, they'll go wherever they go because clubs change and they sell players, they buy players. Ultimately, the manager, even if you think that manager has a huge ego, the manager goes as the club goes. Nobody cares more about the fate of the club than the manager. So when you get into these issues where you think, maybe is he losing the dressing room, or are some players not here? Maybe he needs to go if he's lost the dressing room. I don't see how you don't batten down and say, no, we spent this money. We decided that this is our plan for the next 3 years. We are going to invest in our project. Everybody needs to get on board energetically, philosophically, or you go, because that's the only way we get value for our money and see whether or not we really have a thing to do. And if you're willing to invest that kind of time and money in people who don't have CVs like Jose, if you're willing to do that for 5 years with Potts, if you're willing to do that for years with Redknapp, then if a cat with this CV comes in, then let's see if we can commit to a project, build a philosophy, build an energy, not try and force ourselves to be who we were before, but become something new.
Do you think this whole thing is a perception that because Jose, everywhere he's been, has always had short-term success everywhere, and then it kind of turns wrong? That the fact he's not having that short-term success here gives that perception that it's just not going to work, and then it's better off cutting your losses now rather than sticking with something which in the past you could argue has proven that Mourinho doesn't have a long-term vision. Do you think that's a perception that maybe needs to change?
I think that perception and bias definitely needs to change. Obviously, Jose was the cat on the town early in his career where, we date a lot. We have flashy, fly-by-night relationships. It's great. And then we move on. But he's always had he come to a different point in his life where now he's looking for a long-term thing. He thought he could do that with Manchester United, but she's too pretty and too fancy for too long. She wasn't willing to build something new with him. She just wanted him to move into her house, live life the way she wanted to live. But he looks at, this cute, quality, wise girl over here at Tottenham, and he's like, I think we can build something new together. I think we could do a thing. And so I think you have an opportunity. I think you got to look at how he's handling things now. You look at what Grandpa said about how he's handled the squad, right? Grandpa says a lot of people think that he's handled the squad poorly, but I think if you look at it, Jose's behaved with this squad a lot differently than he has with a lot of squads. I think he is very much like when he came in, he put his arms around Dele, but at a certain point, I'm not going to start Dele over Lo Celso. I'm not starting Dele over Ndombele. And the way the team was set up because of its strengths and its weaknesses, he had to operate a certain way. He took his time with Bale to bring people along. He gives people opportunities. Like he usually is far more cutthroat than this.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I think he's going to start to become a little bit more cutthroat because he's seeing that doing it the other way not only is necessarily working all the time for the attitudes of the people in the squad, but nor is it working for people's opinion of how he's handling the squad. So at a certain point, he's got to be like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm going to do things the way I think I got to do. Excuse my language.
Yeah,
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
The way I usually do things when I've been able to build and forge squads who were willing to fight. You know, he knows more than anything. It's not about your talent, particularly in the Premier League. It's about your willingness to fight.
So is Jose? Are you saying Jose is kind of going back on his own words to the squad when he's saying be a bastard, don't be a nice guy, you know, all that kind of stuff?
No, I think that's what he's telling them. But I think in with the media and the public, he's been very careful to protect the players. He tries to be honest when they ask him questions, but he also says there are things that I want to keep in house. There are things that I want to, and he always says, look, you know, my success in the past is because of the greatness of my players. The success and failure is really up to the players. You know, there's only so much that managers can do. And so he gives credit. He also takes responsibility. He says it's my team. It's us. We have to find a way to do these things. And I think, I think people have to respond to that.
All right, Brandon. Absolutely great
Love
call.
it.
I think you're pretty spot on in most things you said there. So, Brandon, thanks a lot for coming on, man, and we'll see you next time.
Good to speak to
Come
you,
on,
Brandon.
y'all. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on.
Come on.
Yo.
Love it, Brandon. Absolutely love it. Great call.
All right, let's keep going. Who we got? Cody. What's that? A parrot.
Oh,
Mac did Cody. Mac did.
That's a shark. Come on.
It's not a parrot. I thought it was a parrot. Let's see that again.
Is
that
that
not a
in the
parrot?
comments? Who thinks that's a parrot?
That looks like a parrot. That doesn't look like a parrot. I still think that's a parrot. You've told me it's a shark, and I still think it's a parrot.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
Oh, man.
Cody, man, what did you make out of that performance today?
Well, you know what? Overall, if you look at all the circumstances that we've had leading into the game, you've got a team low on confidence, a manager under siege, rumor mill is spinning. You know, I don't think you can ask for much more than what we got today. You know, I thought there were spells in the first half where we looked a little bit vulnerable, but, you know, they really didn't get a sniff on the whole, and we defended well as a unit. I thought Jaffa Tanganga, Joe Rodon, Carlos Vinicius all took their chance quite well to stake a claim to a spot, at least in regular rotation, if not in the starting 11, you know. Very happy.
In his post-match interview, Mourinho was saying that there are some influences from within the players, like the agents and stuff, that seem to be, but players seem to have their own agendas, and it takes a while for that squad harmony to really get that clicking, so that you have everyone fighting for each other. And he said he can't do it alone. I need help from the club. Do you think he's sending a message there that some players just need to leave, basically, and we can't have players with their own agendas in the squad? Is that what you're saying there?
Of course he's saying that. You know, it's clear as day to everyone. What have we been talking about all week? We've been talking about the players that have been poisonous in the dressing room, the players that are not good enough, the players who have underperformed, and the players who have their own agendas. So, yeah, Jose wants to stake his claim to control of that dressing room, and you can't blame him. And we should be backing him. Daniel Levy should be coming out in the media and saying Jose Mourinho isn't going anywhere, and put all this to bed so that the noise can go away, because we know how there's a huge subsection of Spurs fans that want to see Jose fail because they've been Jose out from the very beginning, you know. So yeah, absolutely. He's saying it clear as day for all of us to see that what we've been saying all week is exactly what's going on.
In terms of moving to the end of the season now and top four hopes, does this performance change anything for you in terms of what you're thinking about the top four?
Listen, we're talking about a season where anything can happen, and I mean, Sheffield United beat Manchester United 3 weeks ago. So you tell me why, when we're only 3 points off top four, and why that isn't a possibility. I mean, it's so very obvious that with a quarter of the season to go, it's anybody's game. So if we can get on a hot run, I mean, we've seen it already with this squad, back in October through November, we can have a dominant run of games. Let's hope that this is the turning point of our season, and this is the moment where Jose wrapped his hands onto the steering wheel firmly and took control of this squad,
And yeah, it was a very interesting lineup he picked, wasn't it? What was your reaction when you first saw that starting 11 on the Spurs Twitter? What was your reaction? Were you surprised? Do you think that was the right thing? Obviously, it's been vindicated with the result, but casting aside players on the bench like Bale and players like of that ilk, and two recognised right backs, Aurier and Doherty, both not making the squad. In terms of from now to the end of the season, do you expect that to continue?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I have ever had that level of anticipation to see a starting 11 before a game, because, there were hints there. Ali Gold dropped a little hint there on Twitter that it was going to be something interesting and that it might ruffle some feathers. Yeah, it's about damn time that there has been some accountability for the way that these players have been playing. The players that you mentioned that were left out of the squad, Winks, Aurier and Doherty. Yeah, this is the message, guys. Get your act together or you're not going to be in this squad. And yeah, I mean, I think it's been overdue. You look at the way that Rodon and Tanganga played today. Now, we're not talking about playing against prime Barca here. This is a Aston Villa side that didn't have their best player.
Yeah.
But Tanganga, I thought he was excellent on the ball. And like I said in my tweet at halftime, he was very press resistant. Vinicius, he's got about as much quality on the ball as Moussa Sissoko, but he understands the game. You can see the way that he uses his size, especially I thought he made some excellent defensive plays in the box where it's like, okay, you see his number in there and you just don't give away a penalty, but he made some class defensive plays today. So yeah, it's about time that we shake it up and see what happens. And hopefully you get a response from the other players, because you can't look at that starting 11 today and say that we're going to start them every game the rest of the year. You can't. We need every player on this squad going full tilt, everybody rowing in the same direction, and Mourinho in full control.
And finally, just want to touch on Reguilon. Obviously went off injured today. First of all, what did you make out of his performance today? And second of all, how much of a loss will he be if he's out for an extended amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he was having a hard time getting into the game, but you have to remember that Matty Cash is one of the Aston Villa's best players. That was one of the marquee matchups of the game. I'm deeply concerned that Reguilon broke his foot, because it's not very often that you see someone get stepped on like that and not be able to continue without it being some kind of serious injury. We've all seen what happens when we have Ben Davies down that side. It basically, like I've said in the past, Ben Davies is a good player, but he's only really capable of at max a 7 out of 10 performance, because he's just not capable of the dynamic things that Reguilon is capable of. So yeah, let's hope that it is not our worst fears, because 2 weeks from now we got another game, and we're like a prize fighter. We've been knocked down, but we've got back up. The legs are still wobbly, but the fight's not over. And we're going to need Reguilon if we have a chance at top 4, my opinion.
Absolutely love that analogy. But Cody Mack, thank you so
Cody.
much for coming on, man.
Just before I go, guys,
go on.
What's it going to take to make this foot race happen between you guys?
To stop smoking, first of all, maybe.
No excuses. Come on.
I'm ready. I can go right now. I'm ready.
I'm going to start a GoFundMe. Let's see it.
We'll make it happen. We're going to do the We Are Tottenham Olympics this summer.
Who's your money on?
Live from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Who's your money on? Who's your money on, Cody?
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? In the end, I think probably what happens is Ben pulls up lame before the finish line, but Sim is too busy calculating the correct length of stride that he needs to get through the race.
I think you're pretty spot on there.
Slow and steady wins the race, Cody. Come on.
Stats matter.
Exactly. Love it, Cody.
Love it. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks for coming on, man. See you next time.
Right, cheers.
Good to see you, Cody.
Glory. That's what it's all about.
I love Cody Mack.
All right, who have we got next?
Time of day.
The Smasher.
Yeah,
brand new
Yes,
mod.
man.
I would like to say thank you for all the modding you've done today.
Yes,
you've done Absolutely
tough
brilliant
job out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
In the wilderness.
it's a big wilderness out there, and you got a lot of
Yeah.
policing to do. But you did a brilliant job today, so thank you very
Many
much.
deleted posts, to be honest.
No, thank you very
surprised.
much. Absolutely brilliant
No,
job.
it's
you did.
fine. I like it, to be honest.
Good.
Where are you calling from?
Norway.
Norway.
We got our own
Yeah.
Viking here. I see.
Yeah.
No, in terms of the game today, were you happy with that performance?
Look, the first 30 minutes was quite boring. I didn't really. I don't really remember anything from the 30 minutes apart from Vinicius' goal.
Mhm.
I really liked the performance from Lucas today. I actually want to a taste from that Lucas 8 today because I think he had some. No, I'm just kidding. But Lucas was a vital part of the performance today, I think, and with Tanganga as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in terms of how the attitude and the application from what we saw with the players today, Mourinho was saying the attitude was spot on today compared to the performance on Thursday and against Arsenal. What do you feel the players are still playing for him? And do you think, because his job was on the line before this game, but what are your feelings now towards that?
I feel like they had a better attitude today. I will say the attitude was pretty bad on first day. I almost broke a chair on the first day because I was so mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I was proud today by the players because they stepped it up and they had to show an immense amount of work today to be a liability for Spurs supporters.
Mm. But do you still back Mourinho? Do you think he's going to be in charge next season?
I don't know. It depends if he gets top 4. I have seen a lot of tweets which says he might get sacked if he don't get top 4. But I don't know. I'm not inside of Spurs. I have no clue what's going on.
I know, but your
we can
opinion.
only
Do you
speculate.
think? Do you think he will get top 4? Are you backing him? Is that? Do you think the way we're playing and the response today is? It's weird to think about it. We're actually 4 wins out of 5 now in the Premier League, which is it doesn't feel like we are, but we are.
Yeah.
We're actually in form. But do you think we will? If we're now 3 points off top 4, we're in 6th. Do you think we'll get there?
If we win our next 3 games, then sure, we have a chance. But if we drop points like we usually do, I'm not sure because the top teams are pretty good, and I don't know if they're going to drop points. Like I quite liked it that the West Ham managed to drop a win today by leading 3 goals. Yeah, karma.
Taste their own medicine. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I think we have a decent shot, but I'm not sure yet. If we can win our next 3 games, then it will convince me even more.
Next 3 games against Newcastle, Everton, and Man United. It's a big ask to win those next 3 games.
But if we get 7 points, then we have a chance, I think, as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think 7 points and we have a chance. But
7 points.
Defeat.
4 or 5 points we're fucked. But if we get
agree.
7, then we have a chance.
But in terms of his selection today, he made a lot of changes. And, he brought in the likes of Rodon, Sanchez at the back. Do you expect those changes to continue? Do you think that that's what we need to do going forward? Or do you think they showed the other players on the bench what is required?
At first sight, it was quite unorthodox from Mourinho to play a front 2. We haven't played that, I think, in this season. Mm-hmm. And to play such young players at the back, it kind of frightened me at the first sight, but I believe they are actually bleeding for a badge and not Steyer, who is playing for Czech. But I think he hit well with the score and team sheet today.
All right.
And I actually want to see against Newcastle and Everton. I'm not sure about United because that's a more terrifying game.
All right. Great to have you on the Smasher. Good to get you call in. Again, thank you for moderating all the chats and everything. I know it's
no
a
problem.
difficult job.
I will do it next stream.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. And
big up the Smasher.
Yes.
Big up.
Come on, Spurs. Come on.
Come on, you Spurs. All right. That was a good call.
All right, let's get Brian. I think Brian might have a song for us, does he? Does he have a song for us?
Well, no, first of all, I'll address Simeon's. Like I said, as you know, when Jewish fans or Jewish people go into mourning and sit shiver, they don't shave.
Correct.
And after Arsenal and Croatia and Zagreb, I was completely in mourning. So I was like, no, I can't shave the hair. Today, I can come out in mourning and shave the hair. And like
You never invited us to the Shiver House.
Well, do you know what? With COVID, I didn't know if you could get there, my friend. So, Tottenham held a nationwide, an international one.
We should have deserved it after Thursday night, I think. But was this the reaction of men, Brian? Is Mourinho right?
Do you know what? I'll tell you now. When I saw the starting team sheet,
Yep.
Yeah,
guys,
we're here.
we got a bit of a lag.
No, I can hear you.
We
You're
can
fine.
hear you perfectly.
Okay. So yeah, when I saw the team sheet today, as soon as I saw it, I had the Sister Act song, "Oh Happy Days." I was over the goddamn moon. I want to say everything that Brandon said, I totally agreed with. Apart from, I thought Davinson Sanchez was absolutely phenomenal today.
Yeah. Really? Apart from Davinson Sanchez, who else really stood out for you? I know everyone's saying Moura man the match today, but there were like some performances out there for players that have hardly played a minute this season. Joe Rodon, Japhet Tanganga. What did you make out of them?
I thought they were both fantastic. I mean, I still believe that Japhet Tanganga is a centre-back more than a right-back. But again, today, he was played at right-back. Jose Season was a right-back. He was fantastic. And Rodon I honestly think he is going to be the number one defender for us going forward. He made some mistakes, but he's a youngster and he can only learn from these mistakes. And the one that I've been screaming out for, like Vinicius, I was delighted for. Absolutely over the moon.
Do you think we'll see a lot of more from him from now to the end of the season in terms of starting up front, partnering Kane?
I really hope so, because you got to remember, Vinicius was a defender as well to begin with. So when we had him at set pieces, he added that bit of a security for us. And then also going forward, having an outright centre forward there allows Kane to drop deep, knowing that a goal poacher is going to be there. So I think there's just so much more flexibility to the formation, to the team, Kane's role. And then you've got to speak about Lucas and the connection he has with Vinicius. But right now, Lucas on fire.
Your defence is terrified. But Brian,
terrified.
why have we not seen that this season in the Premier League, especially Vinicius up top, Kane in behind, Lucas Moura on as well on there?
Do you know what? It's a great shout. But like Ali Gold said on one of his videos, one of his incredible videos, that what he'd like to see from Lucas is him running at defenders, not into defenders. And I think on the wing, he was doing it all the time. But he's got so much energy and so much pace that I honestly just think that this is where he's got to be. And I think Jose loves him and now has found the position for him.
And in terms of that back line, you said you think Rodon's going to be our number one centre-back. You think with Sanchez, Rodon and Tanganga there, and Reguilon obviously in the back four, we just seemed a lot more energetic. We seemed like we had a lot more ability to like throw our bodies in the front of things. That everyone seemed a lot more exuberant in that back line. Do you think, even though we might be losing out with a bit of experience of Dyer and Toby, we make up for it in other ways in that back line?
100% now. I mean, I said in the Tottenham Away shows as well that if that was the back line for the rest of the season, I would be happy. I mean, obviously we want Toby in there as much as we can, but why I think Sanchez was phenomenal today is, okay, he had a couple of shaky minutes at the beginning, but we've always been saying that he's played better alongside Toby, which is like obviously the King and Dawson.
Yeah.
Whereas today, he had to stand up and be the Ledley King of that defence. He had to show that he was the main man and the most experienced and established international. And to my surprise, not only did he do it, I think he did it exceedingly well.
Brian, 4 wins in our last 5 Premier League games. It's not bad for a full-on crisis, is it? But what are your feelings about top 4 now? Okay, so obviously it's mathematically possible. And whilst it's mathematically possible, it is. But this season has been so up and down. There's going to be so many twists and turns. I'd love to say, yes, I've got my crystal ball out and we're going to get there. But who knows? It's doable. I mean, Newcastle was our bogey team. Yeah.
Going away. So let's see how we do there. if we get I think it was the Smasher that said if we can get 7 points out of the next 9, then we're really in it. I mean, I think it's going to come down to a huge thing that we got Leicester last game of the season.
Yeah, it could really come down
That
to
could
that.
really be it. That could be the top 4 final like when we played Man City all those years ago.
Exactly. And I've got a funny feeling that it will be because Chelsea are just not conceding. So I think
they've got an easy run as well. They've got an easy run as well.
So there you go. So I've got a feeling that Leicester game is going to be exactly like you said, Ben, the Man City game.
Yeah, I mean, we say Chelsea have got an easy run in, but their last 4 games of the season are really difficult. I mean,
but they could be out of sight by then.
Do you reckon they'll be out of sight? Because
they're going to win their next 3-4.
Yeah, they got West Brom, then Palace, then Brighton, then West Ham, then Fulham, then City, then
they're probably going to win their next 4 or 5.
Then Leicester,
they're probably going to win 4 of their next 5, I would say.
You've got to look at it as well, guys. At the moment, they are just not conceding.
Yeah.
So then, if they carry on like that, at least they're not going to lose. And it's just whether we can get the point. When Tottenham need a win, that's when stupid things happen. And if Chelsea keep getting draws, that's when we're going to need to punish them. But like I said, I think it's going to be between, if it's anything, us and Leicester, last game of the season. And what a nail-biting game that will be.
All right. Brian, absolute pleasure as always. We'll see you next time.
You certainly will. Have a great evening, guys.
Come on, you Spurs.
Got a couple of super chats here. One from Nate D says, I know we were all going crazy when Lucas turned that defender inside out and broke his ankles. That the tiny wizard moves so smoothly past people. Hashtag come on you Spurs. That's what we've said about Lucas, to be honest, always. That he's so good at that dribbling. It's always what's at the end of it. It's always been the problem.
Exactly.
But his dribbling's never been in question, especially when he's in full confidence. And Jack Burford, who we lost before in terms of the audio, he says, gutted my audio was not working tonight, lads. Great stream as always. I hope to be back on soon. Keep up the good work and come on you Spurs. Jack,
big up yourself, Jack. We look forward to speaking to you next time.
Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I could hear you perfectly. Apparently,
yeah, we could hear you, but apparently the whole of YouTube couldn't hear
I was
you.
having a nice conversation with you, but apparently no one else could hear it.
They can only hear your side of the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but we'll have to have you back on soon.
All right, let's get the Tottenham teacher on. Let's see what he can teach us today. I'm sure some kids in his class getting good grades this evening.
Hey lads, of course they are. They definitely are. A pretty good showcase today, huh?
Yeah, I mean, after the absolutely dismal performances against Arsenal and Zagreb, is this exactly what the doctor ordered today?
This is exactly what we ordered. And then, just kind of taking into account Joe's obviously post-interview last game. And then, it's just really good to see a reaction like this. Obviously, we can't bank on it the whole way through. But being, what are we, 3 points off of top 4? I feel a bit confident. Maybe we'll see Chelsea drop off here at the end of the season, as you guys were mentioning. But, hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible when we're talking about numbers, you have to pay attention to even the smallest percentiles, I guess. So let's keep the faith, folks. Come on, you Spurs. And I just wanted to make sure, hey, Tottenham till I die, remember?
Exactly.
So I want to ask you a question. Where is the line? I want to ask for you specifically in terms of your classroom. Do you ever have kids mucking up the classroom? Do you ever have kids disturbing the lesson, disturbing everyone teaching? Does that happen? I'm assuming that happens.
Oh, definitely.
So where is the line between where you start questioning if you're a good enough teacher or whether those kids have to be chucked out of the classroom?
With a year like this, I mean, who knows? But in general, obviously you're getting feedback, right? There's what we call the formative type of feedback, and then the summative. So formative is building up to where we want that goal, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of the same thing here with Joe is paying attention to the gaffer's going to be paying attention to how the training sessions are going. With Hugo coming out last, right after the last match, calling it was exactly what we needed. It was exactly what we needed. You know what I mean? When the gaffer is seeing their players, probably put in the time in the training session, and then to come up, on the pitch, results such as that, it's I kind of think it's the same process.
Similar, isn't it? Yeah, but I want to know from you in terms of exactly. But unfortunately, unlike Jose, you can't just replace some kids who want to learn with your kids who don't. That's a bit different. But just get them out, bring in some younger kids who want to learn.
Everybody can learn. They just got to be determined, man. That's the whole point, right? Joe not saying, "Hey, are the men actually going to show up now or not?" Right? One of the quotes that said, I think after this post interview is just like, to have no reaction is absolute, shite. So
exactly. But do you think today it was the reaction of men? That's how Jose described it? Do you agree with that assessment from him?
Of men, let's not give them too much credit. We got to get a couple more matches underneath us and see how they react there. But if we can get a good string of games here, after the break, we'll see, huh? We got to hang on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
But obviously, credit to the squad. Credit to the squad, because we do say, right, like we love. I was like, we love Tottenham, but we don't always love the team. We don't always love the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's all about the badge, and that's what's the most important thing. Did they play for the badge today?
They definitely did. To dare us to do.
All right. Tottenham Teacher, absolute pleasure as always. And I'm looking forward to your kids getting all the good marks today, all the good grades.
All right, come on, you Spurs. Tottenham till I die.
Come
on.
Love it.
Absolutely love it.
All right, who we got next? Danny Kirakau. Is that right? Did I get that one right this time?
Didn't he say it?
You keep getting it wrong. You keep getting it wrong.
Kiriakou.
Come on, man.
Kiriakou, that's it. Kiriakou. There you go. Let's start again. Danny Kiriakou, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are we doing?
Yeah, look, we're much better than we were past few weeks, weren't we? Look, you responded with 3 points today, clean sheet, a lot of changes in the lineup. How do you think it all went? Obviously, we got the win, but do you think the performance was very much an improved one?
I think it was a professional performance today with a lot more attitude and desire from the players on the pitch. I think it's as simple as that, to be honest. I can't
do you think if Jack Grealish was playing, or if we were playing a better side today, we would have come undone?
Potentially, especially in that first 30 minutes. I think he definitely helped by not being there today. And he obviously, if you look at how many chances he's created for them this season, he's the top of their list by like nearly double from what the second in the list is from chances created. So yeah, I think he definitely would have caused us a lot more problems, especially with our twinkle toes at the back at times. So I think it was good that he wasn't playing, and I think we needed that. I think I was quite shocked, to be honest, to see the lineup he chose, but I was quite surprising and sort of happy about the lineup he chose. So it was kind of like I think we saw it was like, let's just see what you guys can do, sort of lineup.
With Everton and Man United round the corner, can you read too much into this performance, or was it just a case of we just need to get 3 points and move on?
Yeah, I think we just need to get 3 points. I mean, we all saw it wasn't an amazing performance from us. It was professional. It was, let's get the job done. Let's get the 3 points, because if they didn't, the media, everyone would have had a field day with them. Like the manager, it just all this toxic thing about Jose out and all this shit, and the players again with not giving attitude and not doing playing as a professional footballer should play with the effort and desire. So yeah, it was what we needed, I think.
Yeah,
we've just got a bit of breaking news. Regulon has posted on his social media saying everything is fine, so not to worry about that, hopefully. So that's good news there.
Well, the good thing is we got an international break and he's not going away, so it would have been a few weeks of him resting anyway. So it would have been all right, I think.
Exactly. Good. But in terms of the lineup today, who really stood out for you?
I think Mora stood out for me the most. I think Sanchez did have a good game, apart from that one bit where he got turned near the end. Where it could have been a goal conceded, but he did pretty well today, to be honest. And I think Moura, obviously Kane again. People said it before tonight, and he was on another level. But yeah, Moura was the one who was just he was giving everything again. And I think was it Big Dave was saying earlier that the last 6 weeks he's been probably one of our top performers, to be honest, and he's been consistently good. Which is quite surprising, because I think we've all given Moura a bit of stick because he doesn't do it consistently enough. But the last 6 weeks he's given a new dimension to his game, I think, just by playing him in that. Well, he was playing, I think, more on the wing tonight, but he was kind of drifting in a lot in the middle. So I think he's definitely one of them tonight.
Mourinho in his post-match interview said there are players with their own agendas and their own agents who are pushing for different things, and they're not playing for the team. And it takes a long time to get that squad harmony like together and get everyone singing from the same hymn sheet. And he needs help. He can't just do it alone. He needs help from the club to help sort that out. Who do you think he's pointing to the players who weren't involved at all tonight, or do you think as well there are some players on the bench he's talking about? Who do you think he's talking about?
We know who he's talking about. We know who he's talking about. Those culprits, those donkeys who were playing on Thursday night, and then who let us down on Thursday, and some of them let us down again on against Arsenal. I think the Arsenal game, I think that was they just didn't have the effort in. But the performance on Thursday was just so much worse. And it's those culprits we all know that we keep talking about, the same ones, the Winkses, the Sissokos, the Auriers. I wouldn't say Davis, but Davis is he's just not as good as he has sort of, his performances have sort of dropped off the last few years. There was a point that he was pretty good for us, but that was when that was, I think, in Rose's prime, where he would come in and he actually did a really good job, like even better than he's doing now. But it's like when you use Davis permanently and you actually have to rely on him, then he's not a great player for us. So I think Davis again is another one. He's been there too long now. I think he needs to go. We need I think Sessegnon coming back next year. We're hoping that he's gonna hopefully challenge Reguilon for that left back spot. So we'll see what happens. But it's those same culprits that they need to go. Jose is very smart in the way he says things, and I think someone touched on it earlier. That I think it was Brandon actually. That the way he says it is that he's trying to be as honest as possible, but also kind of giving us a bit of indication and kind of letting us lot decide and the media decide and then the public decide what they take from what he's saying. And we can all guess it because none of us are stupid, especially the Spurs fans. We all know who he's talking about. And I think part of it is trying to hint as well to possibly, I know he probably has conversations with Levy every day, but it probably Levy as well to say, look, this is what I think. And yeah.
And just finally, I just want to touch on the right back situation because Jaffet came in today, played a really good game today.
He was very good today.
Is that the right back sorted for you for the rest of the season, or you still think Aurier and Doherty are still going to see some minutes?
I think as long as Tanganga doesn't get injured, because we know he had some injury problems in the last sort of year or so, year and a half. If he stays fit and doesn't make mistakes, I think he'll stay in. Because it's one game per week now, so the only time I think I could see maybe Aurier or Doherty come back in is that the game before the the League Cup final, where he might decide who he's going to play in the final a week before, depending on how the performances have gone of the players. But if it was me, I would give him the chance because he's more solid. He tries harder. He puts more effort in. He might not be as great going forward, but to be honest with you, if we can get results, as long as we keep the back line steady and we're not leaking too many any mistakes and stuff like that, then why not? That's how I see it.
All right, Danny, absolute pleasure as always. We'll see you next time.
See you in a bit.
Come
Danny.
on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Good to see you, Danny. The Joracle.
The Joracle returns.
Let's get the Joracle on. He had all the answers.
Jory.
Maybe he was right because he said there was a reason he didn't play Aurier that week, and now Aurier's out the squad. He didn't play, and now he's been banished, not even available. So maybe you have something to that, Jory. What was your response to the performance today?
I was super happy to see the lineup first of all. Because that lineup basically consists of every player that's not part of this toxic culture, in my view, the starting lineup. To be honest, I'm to a point now where I was even a little bit worried when he subbed Sissoko on, because, I think you're playing with fire there. And, our problem is that we have so many quality players, really. Their ability is fairly high. but so we constantly get dragged in and confused by their high ability. Delhi is a good example. Even like Dyer in the Man City game showed absolutely great defending there and stuff like that. And then we kind of focus on the football ability. And to be honest, I feel like now it's the whole story is being told in terms of mentality. And that's what you saw tonight. You saw every player with the right mentality out there. And, I was paying more attention to their faces and their eyes than their feet. The way Kane celebrated with Vinicius and Lucas and stuff, that's different from normally, like he truly hugged them. It was like they've dug deep and said, we're going to overcome this bunch of losers. Sorry, excuse my French, because there is a bunch of losers dragging this club down constantly. And their agents apparently is the new, which is no surprise for us. I think like we also need to be a little bit careful. I think, Ben, you got it completely right. There was once, I think the stream after Zagreb, you said we need to tear the whole thing down and build it up again. And that's still true. But we can see who can be part of the new build we saw tonight, for sure.
Do you think Mourinho will be part of the new build?
Yes, I can see. I can definitely see that. I can see how Mourinho can rally that. And to be honest, after that game, I've now been watching a lot of Potts interviews and reading and so on. Simply, going a little bit into the history of this squad. And Potts was constantly talking about this. He was constantly calling it out. He was constantly dealing with the same toxicity. And that was when they were at a higher kind of a performance point, So we have a bunch of people who are not kind of facing up to what their ability is and their mentality. And they have also, due to maybe Kane and other natural leaders not being as forceful as they should be, have been able to become the leaders, like Sissoko and stuff like that, which is, I can point to a million games with Sissoko where I've been happy with him. He can do good defensive work and like we always said, like he'll be all over the pitch working for us and stuff like that. But if that's at a cost that there's supposed to be a certain order and controlling the dressing room and keeping players like Lucas out of the loop and stuff like this, that's what I think we're seeing with Lucas now, is that Lucas has been waiting on the flank to play his role like the professional that he is, always turns up. No matter how long he's been on the bench, he will turn up. And then we complain about he's being a headless chicken for running straight into the defense. Maybe those 30 seconds when he was dribbling around like some dribbling genius, maybe some of the other players should have moved a little bit more, made a little bit more vertical, run the lines or whatever, make something happen, And this is what I felt tonight, was especially also with Vinicius. I think Vinicius keeps getting overlooked with his movement, because Vinicius is a very kind of classical, like in the box striker, So when he's not on the ball, he's constantly making work for he's got a very good nose for where he can place himself to make holes for himself, but also make more room for his fellow players. So I was very happy with it, and I do think that Jose could be the guy to. I mean, what I've seen now is that Mourinho's not going to get the same rise out of these losers as Potts was able to get. But I also think they're just spent. We need to get them out. But we also need to get Hitchens out. We also need to get the board to do a reality check. And I want to send a message to Levy. Levy, there's no free lunch. if the deal is too good to be true, that's exactly what it is. If you have a player that's world class on paper and it costs half of what he's supposed to cost, there's something there to investigate. It's not going to be that easy. So I feel like I feel like now with the break, maybe we can get into the. I'm like top 4. I'm very skeptical. I think this is a little bit of a mirage of success right now. I think we'll have to bring some of them in again, unfortunately, and that's when things start. When the wheels start falling off again.
And do you even think when we play the teams like Everton and Man United, which we are playing very soon, even if we do keep them out of the team, we are sacrificing a bit of quality for players who work for the team, and that quality can make a difference at that level?
Well, here's the thing. That's, the problem, our biggest problem, I feel like, and in general in football, the most important thing in sport, I think, is consistency. So, for example, I'll give you a good example, which you guys probably adore, the memory of when Iceland beat England, for example. That was
absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
That was a team that was at that point extremely consistent, the Icelandic team, and it met all kinds of world-class teams who were, flying in from their big clubs and whatever, and didn't have the same amount of time together, but didn't also have the same consistent plan throughout for many years now with that team, and that like peaked there, and we like overperformed beyond everything in that game and in that tournament. So consistency is that's where you can then start making a system, a plan. Your gaffer can put in a system that he can deal with teams way above our level, for that matter, and whatever the results are, then you actually have something real to work with, and then you can actually say, all right, what we need a fast right back now. That's our whole here. All of these things, almost all of them, we have a great centre back in terms of tools in Sanchez. We have fast left back in Reguilon, we could go down the list, and we have most of it. We have some holes for sure, especially defensively, but these holes are not really what's letting us down. It's more like the holes that we have in terms of mentality. Are these guys going to turn up? When are they turning up? It's good weather today, and they like the park, and it was a fun ride on the bus down there. So now they're turning up, But like you say, in the game, like Zagreb, I actually listened to some Icelandic pundits here, and they actually said that pitch that we played on is notoriously heavy, so really, like, it'll really drain you running wise,
if you're not up to it, then you're gonna get found out. Basically, I can understand
exactly that. Yeah, and I was thinking, like, can you imagine if this squad, like, if our talents had the same kind of running discipline as some of the smaller teams? I mean, Leicester now, Leeds would be maybe the extreme, But can you imagine if our guys were working like that? We would destroy everything, I think. So this lack of fight is still the problem. But I'm super happy that Mourinho actually found a way to turn something out today, because I was very worried before today. So and he found a way. And I think, by the way, Vinicius and Kane looked great together. Lucas, of course, amazing, completely taking leadership of that number 10 now, even though he was on the flank. Usually I don't like Lucas that much on the flank, but today he was amazing, and like the whole front line was moving so much and switching sides and like just very mobile. So, and also, even though Grealish wasn't playing, I thought Villa was really great, but they lacked that in the final third. They lacked Grealish for sure, but otherwise they were really good, I thought. So
just before you go, Jory, I just had a comment before when you were talking about Steve Hitchen, and they actually said, is Steve Hitchen putting on an Icelandic accent? Because they thought you looked like Steve Hitchen.
Well, I would actually, not that I'm one for touting myself, but I would actually do a better job, I think.
Well, I want to ask you, Jory, that volcano, it's erupted, right?
Yeah, it's going. I took a drive. I might go there tomorrow and walk right up to it.
Walk right up to it.
Yeah.
Send us some pictures. Send us some pictures.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, I want to show you guys as well something that's even more exotic for the Tottenham world than a volcano. That's this.
We've got a trophy for us.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, a medal.
It's silverware. It's Jonas.
Silverware. Well, congratulations. He won
Jonas,
it, did he?
He won his tournament this weekend. So.
Congratulations to Jonas. Was he top goal scorer?
Well, no. I think he had 2 goals and 1 assist.
It's not bad.
And they kind of rotate, so he kept a clean sheet when he was in the goal as well. So.
What's his better stats this season than Steven Bergwijn?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's his team called?
Thróttur. So it's
Thróttur. So we are Thróttur TV. I have to give him a 10 out of 10. Surely. Surely we'll get into that. But look, Jory, when you go to see the volcano, get a big Spurs flag, get a picture, and we'll share that. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely send some pictures to you if I get around to it.
Beautiful.
For sure.
Jory, always good to speak to you, mate.
All right, cheers, mate.
Speak to you in a bit.
See you, Jory.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
All right, who we got next?
Is it Bob? No, Alex.
Alex Samuels. The ghost of Alex Samuels.
Should we review his room?
The ghost of Alex Samuels. He's too busy moderating the chat. That's what it is.
Where is
he? Alex, you're too busy moderating the chat. Is that what it is?
Oh no!
He's had a bed. One time he goes to take a piss or make a cup of tea.
I was so sure I wouldn't be on right now. I was so sure that I went to the site. Was just oh god! How long have it been just on my chat?
Not long, just a couple of seconds, really.
Oh no! Yeah, moderating the chat. That was it. Yeah.
Well done, Alex. By the way, on the modding today. Big thank you to you as well.
Oh, no worries.
But look, what did you make out of the performance today?
I thought that it was a reassuring performance. It was a performance which had to happen, I think, because we needed the reaction. And I'd say in most ways we got it. It wasn't a complete, especially the beginning of the game, I think we were very lucky in a lot of aspects because Villa were pretty much all over us.
Do you reckon if they had Jack Grealish in those first half an hour, we would have been talking about a different result now?
It's one of those if buts, you never really know. We've played against Jack Grealish and the team before, and I think we've done usually pretty well against them, regardless. But so I'm not really too sure, but I do think in a lot of aspects we were lucky today, but I think also we had some really good performances all over the pitch as well. I think Lucas Moura did himself really proud today. Someone who I've criticised, I know, in the past a lot.
Yeah.
I think that he's we can say a lot. He's like a Duracell bunny, isn't he? He runs around the whole pitch and has so much energy. He was doing the Harry Kane role today in defence half the time, getting headers out of the box, and it was very, very, very impressive from him and other players.
And as Jory was saying today, when he saw the lineup, he was really happy because a lot of the players who he thought were toxic were not in the lineup. And you look at the lineup, only really Lloris, Sanchez, and Kane and Lucas were from that main Poch era where were main players for them. Do you think that had a big element, just bringing that fresh perspective and people who really want to prove themselves and fight for their performances rather than players who are maybe too comfortable in the club?
Absolutely, I think that the lineup was a complete statement. Winks and Doherty, don't know, missing today.
Yep,
don't know where they were.
Scarlett and Divine there instead.
Yeah, says a hell of a lot. That Tanganga, Aurier and Alderweireld injury, not injury, illness. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you really think though that Toby one's not an illness? Because Toby's been one of our better players, hasn't he?
Yeah, but who knows? The club are working mysterious ways. I think we'll never truly know with these sorts of things. It's very well documented with clubs that they do this from time to time. So we'll never really know. You know, maybe they're as I've said for a long time now, we have no idea what's going on in the dressing room. So I'm not saying Alderweireld's going to be is the cause of everything going wrong, but we've got no clue who it really is. So it's difficult to really judge, if that makes sense. Yeah.
But top four, Alex, 3 points behind now. We actually got 4 wins in 5, surprisingly. I don't know how, but we do.
Not bad for a crisis.
Huh?
Not bad for a
it's
crisis.
all right. It's not bad for a crisis, yeah. Do you think we could really snatch that last spot, or do you think today still a lot of work to do after today's performance?
The run we've got, it's not terrible, is it? But Chelsea's isn't bad either, if I remember correctly. It's pretty similar sort of running. I think we've got United, right?
United and Everton in the two of the next 3.
Yeah, so that those are going to be difficult, and then it's pretty plain sailing from there. A lot of home games, I think.
Well, Leicester last game of the season could be a big one.
Yeah, that really could be, because they might need it. So will we. But I think I can't on here and make a prediction and go, I think we can do it. I think we can't. It's honestly the flip of a coin, because we just have no idea. We went through a really good run, like what was it, 2 weeks back? Mm-hmm. Had a really good couple run of games, good form after a period of bad form, and we've now had another period with a shocking week. And so I can't really say with confidence that we're going to catch up to Chelsea or in the end overtake them, because who knows what Tottenham's going to turn up. I'd like to see players like Tanganga and Rodon start. I thought Rodon had a great game today. Really, really strong performance from him. Sanchez was a little bit all over, especially in the first half, was a little bit all over the place. I'm still not so. He's still always that player. You never know what will go on with him. But Rodon looked really assured today. He looked like a proper Premier League defender in my view. And look, to be honest, he's made only a few mistakes, Rodon, all season. Really, really good scouting there, actually, from Tottenham, I think, in my opinion. I think he'd be a really, really good player for us.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. Always good to speak to you, mate.
Thank you, guys.
No, appreciate you. And cheers for modding the chat as well. I'll speak to you in a bit. Oh, he's gone already. All right, let's get who's on next. THFC Rant.
All right, come on, Will Stewart. Another moderator I'd like to say thank you to as well.
He's on mute, I think. Yeah, he's on mute. Can you change that?
No, it's not. Yes, I am. I was on mute. Sorry.
There you go.
There we
Beautiful.
go. My bad.
That's all right. Yeah, as we were saying, really appreciate
the moderation
and everything.
No, absolutely.
Go on. How would you assess today's game for you?
Oh yeah, it was a good 3 points. I thought it was a good, solid defense again from Lucas Moura. Probably my man of the match. For tonight, Lucas Moura. He's just been so effective in that number 10. It makes it a real shame that we didn't figure out how effective he would be in that spot earlier in the season. I think it would have, a couple of results might have turned out a little differently if we would have had his effectiveness and work rate in the hole there for a lot of those matches. But
talk me through your thinking when you saw the lineup, your first thoughts when you saw the lineup.
I was actually fairly happy. I think if I was the coach, starting 11, most of the players were there. I mean, I even had a thing. Toby Alderweireld was missing, and I think Aurier was missing. But I did say that I would like to see Rodon and Tanganga, either in playing center back or Tanganga out on the right. So Yeah, I thought Vinicius was good. I called for him to come in and play. My formation was a little bit different than how they set up. It was kind of like a 4-2-3-1 with Vinicius on the left, but players wise, it ended up being pretty accurate. So I was happy with it.
And in terms of Japhet Tanganga and Joe Rodon, what did you make out of their performances, and have they done enough to keep their spot?
Yeah, I mean, with the way the other people are playing, I think you have to give them that spot. I think that if those other players want to come back into the side, then they need to earn it back, right? It shouldn't just be given to them based on seniority or anything like that. I thought the way that the energy that those two young guys showed today was what I want to see from our club on a week out and weekend basis. So, even if they make a small mistake here and there, who cares? The other players in those roles are just as capable of just as many mistakes. So why not give the young guys, the time on the field?
Yeah, and Mourinho's been saying about that in his post-match interview, he said football nowadays is not easy in relation to football nowadays is not easy in relation to keeping that squad harmony. Right. The selfishness is around, the individual interests are around, the agents are around, the connections between the agents and the press are around. He also said, I want it, but I cannot do it alone. I have to do it with my club and I have to do it with my players in the dressing room. But tonight, I'm really happy with what they did. Who do you think he's talking about when he says these individual interests and the selfishness around these players? Do you think that Mourinho has to take responsibility for making the players less selfish, or do you think that ultimately that has to be the players' responsibility?
Being less selfish, I think he's talking more about being more selfish on their own self-interest as far as the amount of playing time that they get. I think that there are certain individuals, and Harry Winks, I believe, is the biggest one of them, who has this feeling as though he is owed playing time, that he deserves to be a starter week in and week out. I think his interests are for himself more so than for the club. I think he's looking at his interests as far as the England national team is concerned. And I mentioned on one of my streams last night that take their shirts from them and send them to the U23s if they're not willing to play ball. If they're going to be a poison, if they're going to be a rotten tooth, then you just need to pull them out. So,
and do you think we have too many of those at the moment?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of them. I think that if Mourinho, I think he's been a little bit too nice lately, and I think that he needs to be a little more strict with some people. That if there are people that are passive aggressively, kind of being a poison in the club, then that's one thing. But if they're aggressively being a poison in the club, then you need to strip them of their shirt, take their squad number, and send them back to the U23s and let Tanganga, Rodon, and Scarlett play. Is what I think. All
right, Will, always good to speak to you, mate. Have to speak to you. We'll speak to you again whenever the next game is. We'll speak to you soon. Always good to speak. Go on.
I just want to say my appreciation for the moderating once again, because it's a job that we desperately needed. I think we all know that over the last couple of weeks.
Yep, so and I'll be going live here in a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours for the US folks.
Yeah, go check out THFC Rant, everyone.
Exactly. Yep. Everyone go and subscribe to our guy Will Stewart, THFC Rants. Absolutely brilliant Spurs content as well.
I'll keep hanging around and plugging away at those wrenches.
Thanks,
Stay strong, stay Spurs. We'll see you later, guys.
See you later, man.
Will. I like that. Stay strong, stay Spurs. I like that. Josh King has been in the super chat saying, great performance. The boys stood up for Jose. In order for Jose to keep his job and for Kane to stay, we have to get top 4. We need this. Come on, you Spurs.
We've got Josh King in the back end.
Have we?
Well, not in the back end, in the background room.
Is he here?
Let's get Jack on. Jack, how you doing, mate?
Very good. How about you guys?
Yeah, all smiles again after good 3 points today. What did you make out of the performance?
Sorry, I just need to say that again, sorry.
Good. I said we're all smiles again after nice 3 points today. What did you make out of the performance today?
I think it was kind of that performance where we have to look at it as kind of a case study. And as a lot of people have said before me, it wasn't the most glamorous attacking lineup, but it was kind of the team that we knew that would fight for the badge and get the job done and be kind of the most professional. So I thought the combination in defense was pretty fantastic if you kind of look at the athleticism that they offer in terms of kind of collecting back or getting back if they make a mistake, such as Joe Rodon or Sanchez. If they're not in the right position, they're kind of capable of getting back and recovering. And then Tanganga was kind of in another sense of his own class today. I thought he was brilliant on the ball, which I haven't seen as much before. And then we already know that he is very, very solid and very, very classy defensively.
People saying it wasn't a perfect performance today, but obviously it was like a professional performance and we got the win. But in essence, is that exactly what we needed? Because a lot of the times, like, we've had to play really well to win, and like the only good feeling these players have is when we're playing well and winning, and they rarely dig deep to get those 3 points. And that's what Mourinho's saying. The fundamentals of the game, they're falling short of a lot of these players. But he picked a side today. A lot of them, I think, as I said in the last score thing, is only Lloris, Sanchez, Moura, and Kane, who were from that real core Pochettino era, who were big players for them. And apart from that, these are like newer players who are like proving themselves and always going to give those fundamentals. So although it wasn't, the most vintage performance, we did get over the line in terms of professionalism. That's what won us the game.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It was the professionalism. And if you look at it, we didn't have as many chances as other games that we have lost or kind of drop points before. But it was kind of the resolution of the resolve of the team to stay strong and kind of stay together as an 11 throughout kind of the 90 minutes. And I think even Ben Davies made a very solid substitution for Sergei when Sergei went off. At Ben Davies, I think I didn't even see anything really go down his left-hand side. And even if it did, he took care of it quickly. It just, that was kind of a shock. But then again, sometimes Ben Davies falls into that kind of ambiguous category of whether he's really trying or whether he's just too tired or exhausted. But like you said, it was professional. And these are kind of the guys that, even with few chances, they're going to see the game out, I think, in the best way they can, in a much more professional way than maybe a different starting 11 would have.
Any more thoughts on the kind of top 4 race? Have any changes in your mind considering that 2-0 win today?
I mean, Villa are not in the best of form, but then again, if you look at the total of the campaign, they're one of the best teams this season, or one of the most notable teams this season. Without Jack Grealish, their win ratio dramatically drops, and you have to kind of take that into account. But then again, it's one of those games that they are really one of the strongest defenses. So that was kind of the game where we knew we weren't going to have as many chances, and there wasn't really a part in the game where I thought that we played poorly. And so that was where that's one of the other parts that you can take out of it. It wasn't the most glamorous scoreline, but it's a clean sheet, and there wasn't really a moment where I thought we played poorly, and I didn't even think there was anyone on the pitch that really played poorly. So you kind of have to look at that, and it wasn't very glamorous, but sometimes you want to take those over anything.
And in terms of Japhet, Tanganga and Joe Rodon, and even Carlos Vinicius, have they done enough for you to keep their spot?
At this stage of the season, also looking into maybe the next season, it would be kind of nice to see something like that continue, especially with, I think, how solid they were. I mean, they really did not see them struggle too much. Of course, Villa got kind of the occasional scary moment from a deflection or maybe a decent ball from Traore. I think that was a huge mistake to take Traore off. And they seem calm and they seem relaxed. And even if they weren't in the right position, like I said before, they could recover. And it could be something that we might want to look into practicing now for the future into next season. Even if we do get a glamorous new center back, it just would be nice to see the guys that are going to be around for the future gain some confidence and maybe fight for that position next season.
All right, Jack. Absolute pleasure as always. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Nice one, Jack.
All right, let's get Bob Spur on. Come on, Bob. How you doing, Bobby?
Come on, you.
Come on, Bobby.
Come on.
Is that exactly what the doctor ordered today, Bobby?
Yeah, well, it's a yellow shark, mate.
Bobby, sing the Bobby, sing the. How you doing, Bobby? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, like you said, exactly what the doctor's ordered, mate. So, yeah, good performance. Villa without Grealish are a totally different team, aren't they? But having said that, where they are in the league and what they potentially are going for, there was a bit of motivation there. We essentially, apart from the last 15, 20 minutes, we were quite comfortable, really, weren't we?
Yeah, no, we really were. And just quickly, there's just a comment from Matty Hayes in the chat, and he says, "You guys just don't stop, do ya? We never stop.
We never get
never stop."
Well, look, there's two ways of looking at this performance, Robbie. There's one way of saying, it was kind of another game where we didn't create that many chances, and we kind of one mistake. The first goal was a mistake from the keeper, and we capitalised on the second one. People saying could have been a penalty, it wasn't a penalty. Maybe people saying we got lucky to get 2 goals. And we ended up winning the game 2-0 against an average Villa side without Grealish. Or you could say this was a much improved performance from what we saw against Zagreb and Arsenal, and we saw a lot more aggression, and the team were a lot more together. What side do you fall on?
Yeah, I think irrelevant of who Jojo picked today, I think what we were looking at, Spurs fans, was the attitude, really, weren't we? We were saying, what if the attitude's going to be any different to what they've shown last couple of games? Me personally, I think what it's done is just, as weird as it sounds, after one game, it's just made the squad a bit bigger. If you can understand, after one game, we've got players who are holding a bit more reliability now. We can look at the likes of Tanganga and rely on him a bit more and be a bit confident what he's going to bring to the team. Same with Rodon as well. And Vinny and the Kane experiment, it's still at early stages, but there is a possibility it's going to work. And then Lucas is just, mate, he's on another planet at the moment.
What's happened to Lucas in the last 3-4 weeks, kind of thing? Someone stuck a Duracell in him or something.
I think so. Obviously something's happened. It's since he came on as a sub against Everton, and him and Lamela came on together, didn't they? And Jose made a comment of, I didn't have to do any team talks for these two guys because they were talking amongst each other. So we need to do this, we need to do that. And it's since that game, and even in the last 2 games, as rubbish as we've been, he's been the only, slight shining light in the 2 games, because you could see what he's trying, and he's never tiring. He's running till the end. It's like, something's happened. But I had confidence in Vinny scoring today, purely and simply Lucas is playing, and them two have forged this kind of understanding already, haven't they?
Yeah, no, completely. I've just seen from Matt Hayes, he's just commented saying, got to look at this clip from Sissoko from the game today. And
on Twitter,
go and have a look at that. I don't know if you've seen it, Bob, but go on to Matt Hayes' Twitter and go and have a look at that clip from Sissoko, because it really is a joke, man, the effort he's putting in on the pitch at the moment. I mean, in terms of the players that he's kind of outcasting at the moment, Eric Dyer, Harry Winks, is Moussa Sissoko should be in that category, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. He came on and I don't know, is it from today's game? Is it that Matt's put the clip out on? Or,
yeah, from today's game.
See, that's it. We were probably so caught in the win that we probably missed it, because I thought all the players did pretty much well, but obviously someone's been caught out. But like I say, it's going to work one way or another. It's either going to disillusion some of the players who've been left out today, or it's going to give them a right kick up the backside. But like I say, the most important thing for me, we've now got a reliable, more of a reliable options now in Tanganga, who's absolutely immense today, and there's absolutely no reason. I mean, we've only got 10 games left for the rest of the season. There's no reason why we can't pick it's very unlikely, because Jose being Jose, he's going to make some changes in the bigger game, so in the cup final or the United game. But there's absolutely no reason why we can't play a consistent first 11 now. There's absolutely no reason. We're going to 1 game a week or whatever. So it's that's the main thing. From the results, absolutely fantastic. But the fact that we've got suddenly squad's looking a bit more bigger is great.
All right, Bobby. Nice absolute pleasure as always.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Shark.
Come on, you Shark.
Up the carrot.
Bobby Singh always with the jokes every week now. He's got for Bond and pussy galore.
He put me as Austin Powers. He put my face over Austin Powers on the.
I was quite happy with Tony Montana, I'll tell you that.
I was like, what? He put me on Bond or something. Why Austin Powers? Unbelievable. Come on, where's David?
Let's get Irish. Let's get the Irish on.
Come on,
Dave. How you doing, mate?
Big up.
Absolutely delighted, lads. Absolutely delighted. A few questions were answered tonight, I believe.
Yeah, no, most definitely. In terms of the outcasts, Harry Winks, Eric Dyer, and what have you. Is the writing on the wall for them now?
Look, balls in their court. Everything about this is screaming, look, perhaps a bit further down the line, but the point it reached with Pochettino where, he went his way and then the summer came, he cleared out the dead wood. Everything screams like that. I don't know if you see my video I done Friday night, lads. It's been pretty well received where I went into a bit of everything. Down to ultimately, it's some of these players, they let down Poch when he had to work with them. They were letting down Mourinho when he had to work with them. Look, Poch was good up until Dembele, Wanyama, Kyle Walker and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, these players come in. It cost him his job. Results dipped. From that November to the following November, when the November the Champions League run to the November when he got sacked, accumulate them points over one season, we would have been relegated. So then I went into saying, well, if he didn't change his system, what makes you think Rodgers and Nagelsmann coming in, when they don't change their system, will get something better out of this squad? And then I was arguing that maybe the fact that Mourinho has switched it up over the course of the season has actually delivered the best out of this squad. And now it's come to a point where he can actually do what he wants to do now that we're out of Europe and after North London Derby, where he can actually expose these boys now that he knows the fans are angry with the players and not just him. Now that he can expose these and hopefully send a good message to the board. Because I'll be honest, his job is on the line today. And what I've seen is, he hasn't lost the dressing room. Harry Kane, at times I've seen him at right back. That shows how much Harry Kane wants him here. And I do think Harry Kane's future depends on Mourinho as well at the club. I can't see him sticking around for another rebuild. So it's a massive win all around for everybody today.
Do you think Jose's job is hanging on top 4 this season?
Being honest, lads, I'm going to give my honest opinion. And this is just from what I see. From what I've seen at the documentary and from what I've just, things coming out of the club, Toby Alderweireld stayed and signed his new contract. No one could get him to, but he stayed because of Jose Mourinho. Harry Kane had that interview with Jamie Redknapp before Mourinho came in, and it was the first kind of sounds he made about leaving. Now, Mourinho's here. The first thing Mourinho done on the documentary, come into my office, Kane, if you stick with me and stay, you know what I mean? I'll turn you into one of the best players. Look what he done today. He dropped Harry Kane deep. Harry Kane was our creator. He dictated the tempo of the game today with his passing range. Absolutely brilliant. So, being able to change things up, he's done that today. And then, like Hugo Lloris, honestly, I think he was that furious after Thursday night. I know what he said, but it kind of reiterates that if this doesn't change, he's out here in the summer, is what I think. And then if Mourinho gets sacked, do you think Toby Alderweireld is going to stay much longer when he has a year or two left in him to try and go and win a trophy at top club? So if we do get rid of Mourinho, it's going to be a lot more bigger rebuild, and it's going to take a lot more time to go with a new manager. Whereas if we can see this, if we can get top 4 and look, whether we win the League Cup or not, if we can get top 4 and just give Mourinho, because Mourinho doesn't always need massive amounts of money. He doesn't. That's a myth. That's not exactly fact. Look, he also brought McTominay through at United and players like that, and he's a mainstay in their team now. So what Mourinho does do is he identifies right players. He had Matic at Chelsea. So what he can do is
Varane at Real Madrid.
and the list goes on. If you can give him just that bit, I would rather give Mourinho that money to install them sort of mentality players in this club than bring in and sit through another long-term project. But look, my opinion, looking at the documentary, is that even with Eriksen and stuff like that, Levy was always into Mourinho. I actually think Mourinho has a lot more grip on this club than what people think he does, just looking at the documentary. Now, I've looked at the documentary 3 times. I watched all 6 episodes 3 times, lads. And the more I see it, the more I watch it, is the more that Daniel Levy is getting advice off Mourinho. And I genuinely think that they could be using Mourinho to take this club to the next level if they can get the infrastructure in place on the footballing side, because that is the problem at the club. You can look at the players and you can say, look, I know, some of them, like Harry Winks and stuff like that, he just talks about England, doesn't want to be playing on the field, and some of these outcasts, some of the players that aren't good enough. But ultimately, it's the football, the business side of Tottenham, brilliant. But the footballing side is where it all falls down.
Yeah.
And do you think now that we're out of Europe, that hopefully from now to the end of the season, we shouldn't be seeing any of those performances where as Mourinho put, the fundamentals aren't being enacted on the pitch. The fundamentals of life even aren't being enacted on the pitch, Mourinho said. Do you think that will happen from now to the end of the season? Or do you think if that does still start to happen with the players that Mourinho picks with only 1 game a week, then serious questions do have to be asked?
No, look, I think now that it's down to one game a week, look, ultimately, I think the damage is done in terms of games. There are going to be tired players between now and the end of the season. But ultimately, look, if they can't turn up and put in a good shift one game a week, then I think you can start asking the questions. But until then, we wait and see, because, look, it is only one win. No one's out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods. There's still a hell of a lot of games to go. People are overlooking Newcastle. Newcastle are a bogey team. They slapped the Pochettino team 5-0. Albeit last game of the season, they took a point off us at the start of this season. Joe Linton scored that guy in another game. That guy never scores. Do you know what I mean? So these are bogey teams. So that's going to be an important game. But in terms of today, see, the hard thing is with Lo Celso and Vinicius, I do believe once Son comes back, one of them will come out of the team. I think it's between them. And it's a hard one, because do you drop Kane and keep playing him where he played and play him like that against Newcastle because he has that vision? And do you play Vinicius up top, or do you put Son up top? It's a hard one to know, because Lucas Moura was my man of the match today, and he was terrific.
All right,
David, and finally, top four. We're going to do it this season or not?
No, look, lads, you know me. I always have the faith. I always maintain. I firmly believe, look, we can do top four. I fully believe in the boys. Look, despite all the negativity going around, whether you're Josie in, Josie out, and I know we've had some disappointing results, let's all band together. Let's get behind the boys and see it out to the end of the season. That's what I would like to do. Look, I've had my part to play in it as well. But look, ultimately, let's all just band together and let's just see this out to the end of the season, and then look at it in a pragmatic way and a good way. Analyze it properly and see where we want to go from there, and stop harming our club, because all it is negativity over news. Sky Sports had their Jose Mourinho panel out tonight with Jamie Redknapp and Paul Merson. They were ultimately sitting there with sour faces when we won. Do you know what I mean? So let's all try and get the positive news out, because even this David Ornstein stuff about Harry Kane and stuff, we don't want that stuff coming out. We want it to be positive. We want to see this throughout to the end of the season. Look, at the same time, the players do have questions to answer. They're still not forgiven. But look, they still have time. So let's see this out to the end of the season. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go top four League Cup final.
All right. Have a good rest of the night, David, and I'll speak to you soon.
See you, lads.
See you,
Nice
mate.
one, David.
And finally, let's get Josh King on.
Josh King.
Josh, how you doing, mate?
Yes, lads.
Good
Doing
to see you,
good.
mate.
Doing good.
We Jose in or Jose out today?
You know how it works. Basically, when we lose, I'm Jose out. When we win, it's getting basically something that's really dawned on me, especially this weekend, is that it's like, if I don't want Jose to be our manager, to be honest with you, but if he leaves, it's because we haven't got top four, and if we don't get top four, then Kane's going to leave.
So there's a whole big domino effect, isn't it?
It's quite
yeah, and it's and to be honest, this result, I was so sure we were going to lose. And this is even, obviously I wanted us to win, but what I mean is it's kind of like I was almost ready for the season to be ended and me to just go back to concentrating on other aspects of my life, and then get
don't need to watch Spurs anymore for that. Frees up so much time.
No, exactly. But because we've won now, we've put ourselves in this position, which I'm happy about, but I'm so scared of, because basically we have this slight chance of keeping everything together. If we get top four and we nick a League Cup, we'll keep our best players this season. Jose will probably get the money, or at least a considerable amount of money that he needs. I think we've been bad enough this season that the board will know they have to get rid of these players. Like, we haven't, had great performances papering over the cracks, and then some of these players stay. I think, in fact, it's really weird, but if we do get top four, this was probably the best way to do it, because we've been bad enough that we tell the board we have to get rid of these players, but good enough that we've got top four so we can keep our best players. But it's like, it's so scary now, because one wrong foot and the whole thing is F. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think Jose can stay without top four? Do you reckon he'll keep his job without top four?
No way.
Even if we finish like fifth and miss out on the last day, something like that.
I think
we win the Carabao and that happens, maybe. I think if we lose the final and then we also miss out, I can't see it.
I've got a question for you lot, actually.
Go on.
What right now? Someone says top 4 or League Cup.
Oh, it's a no-brainer, man. It's a no-brainer. You've got to take the top 4. You have to.
Yeah.
I have to.
What do you think?
Because I think Kane leaves. I think Kane leaves if we don't get top 4.
But it's not just that. Top 4 can like secure our transfer budget for next season, or you know what I mean, Champions League football next season. A League Cup, you know what I mean. We won it in '99. We won it in 2008. They're just forgotten about the next season.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not like it's like if it was Europa League, I would say obviously Europa League, but a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, not for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But yeah, I don't know. What do you? I put our chances at about 30% of getting top 4, only because Chelsea are still in 2 other cup competitions. But there's so many teams, man. There's so many teams. It's not just Chelsea, is it? Like you got Liverpool, you got Everton, you got
Leicester.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of teams, but, you know, Chelsea's still fighting in the Champions League, Leicester fighting in the FA Cup now. So I think that out of all of them, us and Everton are the only ones actually just focused on the top 4 and nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and
that
if we keep
could stand
everyone
us in good
fit.
stead. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But
Go
on.
I wanted to ask you about when you saw the lineup today. Were you very surprised from that, what you saw? Were you excited? What were your thoughts when you first saw it?
I'd say that I was excited because you know I couldn't see Winks or Doherty, and I hope this means that Jose has like taken something from people's performances, because I think people like Sissoko, Doherty, they put in shockers, even Dyer for a long time before he finally benches them or relegates them from the squad, whatever. And it's like Jose can be a good manager, but he has to take away his pride of what his preconceived opinions of these players were. If he thinks Sissoko's a great workhorse, athletic, like I saw that clip you guys were talking about. He's shocking. He doesn't even do what he's meant to be in the team to do anymore. He doesn't care. He's probably been told he's going to leave at the end of the season. He's still getting picked for France. He does not care, and there's too many players in this squad that don't care as well. My problem with Jose is I would be Jose in if I could see him doing what Poch used to do, which is totally tell it like anyone he didn't like, he'd just relegate them. Do you know what I mean? That's what he used to do. And it's especially near the start. And I want Jose to be doing that same thing. That's the key to his success here. If he can just not let people weed their way back into the team that don't deserve it. Give it to a youngster. We've got we've got a lot to lose now, but I'd rather see Rodon and Sanchez playing there, or Tanganga or whatever. By the way, honestly, a lot of people are jumping the gun today and saying Tanganga should play there to the end of the season. I honestly don't think that he's better than Aurier. I know Aurier's got a little mistake in him, but we missed a lot, especially when Reguilon went off. We missed like an outlet on that right side. But
the thing is why I said maybe Tanganga should play for the rest of the season. First of all, I think he needs the minutes because he's a young player coming through that desperately needs minutes, in my opinion. And also, you just don't know what you're going to get with Aurier. Doherty, I'm not even considering for the role. Because Doherty, I just want him gone. I'm done with Doherty. Forget him. But in terms of Aurier, you just don't know what you're going to get with him. I know he's had a good season, but that performance against Zagreb just put it all back for me in terms of Aurier. And that's why I want to kind of go with Tanganga.
Yeah, fair enough. I do get it. I just think that if Grealish was playing today and he likes to drift over to that left-hand side, you know, I can't. Tanganga this is the first good performance I've seen of him in a while. Even the tail end of last season when he was fit and he was playing, he was actually making quite a lot of mistakes that we just kind of glaze over because he's a youngster. I still think he has a place in the squad and stuff, but Aurier has put in like 1 or 2 bad performances out of 10, whereas this is Tanganga's first good performance that I've seen in ages. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I would.
But that performance against Zagreb was just unacceptable for me, just completely unacceptable.
No, I think he had to come out of the team. He had to come out of the team for this game for sure. But in terms of the lineup, you said you were excited in terms of not seeing the players. Like Mourinho after the game, talking about the selfishness of some of the players in the squad kind of infecting what the harmony. And he says it takes a while for the squad harmony to kind of get into a place where everyone's singing from the same hymn, everyone's in the same place, and everyone's thinking of the team instead of themselves. And he says he can't do it alone, and he needs help from the club to do that. What do you say to that?
I say that's the main problem that I have with Jose. It's that he's saying the right things. I totally agree with what he's saying, but he needs more help than some other managers do, in the fact that, like, for him to succeed, we need to get rid of Steve Hitchen. We need to get the checkbook out. We need to get like a proper structure behind him. Just like those winning teams that he's had. He's come to clubs
like
that
Poch
know
said, we need to act like a big club. That's what Poch
Pardon?
said. What Poch said,
Yeah,
we had to
yeah.
act like a big club. We're in a big stadium. We need to act like a big club now.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm sorry to sound so down after a win, but are we going to do that? Have we shown that we're going to do that? Like, I hope we do. I hope we do for Spurs, for Jose, for everything. Like, but I just can't see. Why has Steve Hitchens still got a job? Like, what? I don't understand it. But anyway, yeah.
Push the boat out and get bloody Paul Mitchell back on board. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm scared of, because the last time we did have a rebuild under Poch, and you know he got rid of his deadwood, we had Paul Mitchell. Do you know what I mean? Who have we got pulling the trigger on transfers now? So this all needs to be addressed, and hopefully, just to be positive and to hope, I think that if we were going to get top four and if we were going to get a trophy, this was the way to do it, so that alarm bells start ringing. Hopefully Levy makes some changes that, you know, to the structure, and that's all we can hope for now. And look, if these players are made of anything, we can get top four. I still think our starting 11 is probably the best out of the contenders, including Chelsea. I honestly believe. I believe our starting 11, when fully fit, is better than Chelsea's. It's just we haven't always picked our best starting 11. We've got Lo Celso and Ndombele on the pitch for the first time today, like in a long time. Yeah. Hopefully that happens, and you know, this new manager bounce wears off with Chelsea, and you know, you never know what can happen. Do you know what I mean?
100%. All right, Josh, absolute pleasure as always, mate, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, Josh. Cheers for weighing. Nice one, break.
Okay, bye.
All right.
So that is it. Another mammoth stream for you guys coming to an end. What was that, 2 hours?
2 hours, 5 minutes.
2 hours, 5 minutes of
Super chat here.
Tottenham
Let me just read
reactions
the super
for
chat.
you guys.
Lucas is like a hamster driving a Ferrari, full throttle all over the place, banging off everything, but he will get you there in the end.
Yeah.
damn right. Good way
All
to
right,
end.
so there you have it. Tune in tomorrow morning for the morning after show. We kick off at 11 o'clock. Taking you into the afternoon, and then we'll have player ratings coming out tomorrow and a bit of other bits and pieces coming out for the rest of the week. Obviously, we don't have a game now for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
International break, so we've got a lot of content to bring you. We'll be bringing our unpopular opinions back. So if you want to get involved, do message us on social media and we'll get you involved in those unpopular opinions. But that's enough from us today. Go and get some sleep. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on, you
Spurs.
Spurs.